Hello, and welcome back to my Slow English podcast. This podcast is for more advanced English listeners, all in a slow, comprehensible way. Today, I want to talk about imagination. How would you define imagination? I think imagination is something we all have, whether it's daydreaming or simply drawing, painting, writing, or having a conversation. My imagination goes wild when I'm talking to certain people. My brain comes up with crazy ideas, and I'm able to add on to the other person's opinions and perspectives. I witness it a lot when I'm teaching. I have some pretty cool students, and I have the privilege of talking to people from all around the world and having conversations about so many different topics. Topics like dreams, languages, age, brains, or even about imagination. And I always seem to stand impressed by my students' opinions or thoughts on one topic. Every student I have has some unique and interesting perspective on a topic, and all of it is due to imagination and creativity. As a kid, I had so much imagination. I would jump on the couches while the floor was lava. I would talk to my stuffed animals and create the craziest scenarios. I used to love writing as a kid. I would write so many books. One about a guy who had flying pants. Another one about a girl who could talk to her toys and fly on shooting stars. Did you have a lot of imagination as a kid? What are some fun scenarios that you used to create in your head as a kid? Do you think imagination is more important in childhood or in adulthood? I personally think imagination is more important as a child because it helps you to begin solving problems and finding solutions using your creativity. Even if they are imaginary problems, it's still good practice for future situations where you will need that same imagination to get past stressful or difficult situations. What do you think? Is it more important in your childhood or in your adulthood? I think it can also be important as an adult since we are all creative creatures. And I think every human needs an outlet or source to express their creativity, whether it's with videos or drawings or writing or creating things, building things. How do you express your creativity and imagination? I think imagination is very powerful. It can change the way we see the world and the way we want to see the world. It can play a huge role in careers like business, science, and art. What role does imagination play in your current career? For me, for example, imagination plays a huge role in my career. When making my lessons, I have to make them as engaging and creative as possible. I have to use a lot of imagination to create questions that will intrigue my students and help them to continue speaking and practicing their English. It also challenges their English listening on the spot with crazy imaginary questions that help your English and imagination. And now, when I make videos, I also have to use my imagination and creativity to think of creative and interesting topics to talk about. But I mostly like to use my imagination when it comes to drawing or writing. Those are my hobbies that I enjoy using my creativity for. Now, imagination and fear can work together. When I was a little girl and I let my mind wander into the darkness, I could start seeing things that weren't actually there, but my mind would wander away and get lost in the darkness. My imagination would run wild and think of the scariest situations my mind could come up with. What's the craziest thing that your mind has come up with? What's the craziest scenario that your mind has come up with? I would always run to go sleep with my sister. I had a very active imagination as a kid. Now I can control my fear better, but I'm still scared of sleeping alone after watching a scary film. That's why I do believe that imagination can power fear. And that's why kids are a lot more fearful than adults. I think because as an adult, you can see things for what they are. And as a kid, you can come up with the craziest ideas because your imagination runs wild. It's a blessing, but it's also a curse. Those are my thoughts about the power of imagination. Let me know your thoughts about imagination and creativity in the comments.